Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? So we are here with a little bit of a different video. As you can see, we're doing some arts and crafts today. I'm not very crafty or artsy, so it's going to be interesting. But also, the point of today is we're going to be talking about my coming out story. So I hope that this video, a few of you can relate to, find some inspiration for, and feel some level of comfort after hearing my story, what I went through after coming out as a gay man competing in the sport of strongman. And then also hang around for the end of the video to wait and see what we're doing with this beautiful piece of artwork. There's going to be a little surprise coming at you. So, I'm going to be talking and decorating at the same time. Hopefully, the goal is two things are going to happen with this. My creative juices are going to be flowing for the shirt, and I'm also just going to be able to talk a little bit more openly about my experiences coming out as a gay man, which is kind of the best way to describe this is, especially for anybody in the LGBTQ plus community, you can relate. It's like the most terrifying and exciting time of your life. So growing up, I was involved in sports. Right now we're gonna start with the mohawk here. So I was involved in sports growing up. I did football, I played baseball, and was also a cheerleader. So I did a lot of things, and that was pretty much my high school career. I was always involved, always doing stuff, really never fit in with one clique, I guess is the best way to put it. So I made friends with everybody pretty easily. I have no idea if I'm doing this right, by the way. It's just gonna be chunks of glitter everywhere, which is not a bad thing. So yeah, so growing up, played a lot of sports, did a lot of things, and it was great. I guess the best way to describe it is I feel like I was kind of like an asexual kid growing up. I never really put effort into relationships, especially in high school, because I was always just kind of busy doing whatever. And that put me into my college career. So in college, again, was still that same active person. I was on student government, on the lifting team. I actually did cheerleading a little bit in college as well, but ended up stopping that to kind of focus more on strongman. Again, never really got into relationships, but then fast forwarding to the end of my college career, I ended up getting into a relationship with a girl. We dated for about a year and a half, but the entire time I could tell I really wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't being honest, I wasn't being open, and quite frankly, I just wasn't happy, to be blunt. It was, me waking up every single day having to put on a facade, having to pretend to be somebody I wasn't, and doing that for so long was exhausting. And that's how I ultimately lived my life for a really long time. And it was constantly trying to fit the heteronormative world of, doing, ooh, little much there, okay. Doing what everybody thought I should be doing and not doing what truly made me happy. So I ended that relationship, and it was for the reasons of me trying to figure out my sexuality. At this time, I was 22 years old. I was in graduate school at that point, and I was really just trying to figure out what made me happy. And so I had had these feelings and was questioning my sexuality for a very long time, and finally worked up the courage to come to terms with them and accept myself for who I was. And it certainly wasn't easy. So I started my journey into the LGBTQ world like any other 22-year-old would, and that's with a faceless torso pic on Grindr. So I'm not terribly proud of that, by the way. But was fortunate to, when I was on that app, was reached out by, this really cute dude who I thought was way too good for me. And his name was Joey. So he reached out to me just because I was the new guy on the app in the area. Well, let's be honest, I lived in Western Massachusetts. It was kind of slim pickings to begin with. Fortunately, I ended up with one of the good ones. And so he ended up sending me a message, and we just kind of talked, and this was kind of the beginning of me figuring out my sexuality and what I was who I was really, which was wild to me. You know, like I had lived this life of always being super confident, always being happy, and when I realized for myself, it was really just me putting on a front the entire time. I never realized that I still hadn't experienced what happiness really was. I had just been faking it for a really long time. So I met this guy, Joey, you might have heard of him, and we started talking. And to be completely honest, I want you all to think back to like middle school love, because that's pretty much what it felt like right away. We would spend hours on the phone talking to each other. So we talked on the phone and texted for a little over 2 weeks before we actually went out on our first date. And not even kidding, there was one night we were on the phone. I think I called him around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and we didn't get off the phone until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Just talking and gossiping and learning about each other, and it was absolutely amazing. And that's when I finally worked up the courage to ask him on a first date. So we ended up going out, did the super typical dinner and a movie thing. And at this point in our lives, like neither of us we weren't concentrating on relationships, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, we're both 22. I was in graduate school. He was fresh out of undergrad. And, you know, neither of us, I guess, were looking for a life partner at that point, you know. So we just kind of had this mentality of kind of figuring things out, seeing how it was going and how everything was feeling. And, you know, here we are 6 years later and happily married still. So I had this realization and, you know, end up getting into a relationship with this amazing guy. And as I mentioned before, like then I'm finally able to realize what happiness is. And it took me all that time to do it, which was really such a bummer. So at this point in our relationship, we had been dating for about 6 weeks, and I really felt that it wasn't fair for him to be in a relationship with somebody that was still in the closet. He had been out since he was 17, knew who he was confident about that. So that's when I made the decision to come out. So I came out to my family and friends first and was, you know, I understand I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess is the best way to put it, where I had complete support from my family. You know, my mom wasn't terribly surprised since, you know, I was a cheerleader in 7th grade and also was dancing to Cher when I was 6. My dad, again, was very supportive. So I was really, really lucky on that, in that world. And then I made the decision to come out a little bit more publicly because at this point I had already turned pro in Strongman. 2014, I already made my first appearance at America's Strongest Man, so I was pretty well known in the sport, but not overly popular, and decided to, in the most millennial way possible, proclaim my love for Joey in a Man Crush Monday post on Facebook. So I did that, and we get a call from a friend of ours who was a writer at the time, and he said, you know, this is kind of a big deal. You are the first and only openly gay professional strongman in the world. Like, this story needs to be told. Can I write an article about it? So he ended up doing that, and overnight it gained a lot of traction. Next thing you know, we were getting interview requests from people like TMZ, Huffington Post. Conan ended up talking about us, which was pretty wild. So we were thrust into the spotlight pretty quickly, and unexpectedly, to be honest. You know, I don't think either of us were really expecting to have to do all these interviews. I'm really hoping this shirt's gonna look better once I take all the extra glitter off, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, you know, we kind of got thrust into the spotlight pretty quickly. On a personal level, it was absolutely terrifying coming out in Strongman, just because, you know, we didn't know really what that was going to look like. You know, there was never an openly gay professional strongman before. It's an unbelievably hyper-masculine sport, and we didn't know how it would be taken with the other competitors and my friends. You know, fortunately, probably should have opened these before we started recording. Fortunately, the sport of strongman is amazing, and we didn't end up really running into any problems within the competitors themselves. You know, I was really lucky that after coming out and after the story kind of went viral, everybody kind of came to support me and said, you know, it doesn't really matter whether you're gay or straight, as long as you're still competing and doing your thing, that's all we really care about. And it was really, really amazing to have that support from the competitors and these guys that I'd been looking up to for so many years and have now turned into some of my best friends. So it really was just absolutely powerful and so amazing to have that support, and something I really didn't expect to have, which, you know, I think says a lot about the sport of strongman and how much of a brotherhood it actually is and how much we actually care about each other. It's just really special and something that I've remembered for the rest of my life. You know, it's not something I'll ever forget, which is absolutely unbelievable. All right, so I talked a little bit about me coming out in the beginning of my career. I'm going to stop talking because I can't shut up. Focus on decorating this beautiful shirt because all I did was get glitter on it. And I'm gonna decorate this and then I'm gonna come back to you and talk about the back end of my career and how coming out has helped me in strongman in general. Cool. So the shirt is decorated, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so talking more to my strongman career, so coming out obviously, you know, has done a lot for me in my life. It propelled me to new heights, and I never thought that I would get notoriety just for being myself and proclaiming my love for another person. You know, since then, obviously I've gone on to be the first and only openly gay man to compete at the World's Strongest Man, the Arnold Classic, and at this professional level of the sport of strongman, and it's been absolutely amazing to be a source of inspiration for a lot of people, and opening up the world of strength sports to the LGBTQ plus community is something that I'm really passionate about, because on the outside looking in, it is a very intimidating world to be a part of, but once you're a part of it, you realize how amazing the group of people are that are in this sport, how supportive and welcoming it really is. It really is just absolutely amazing. I think the biggest thing for me since coming out is being able to put the energy in that I was using to pretend to be somebody I wasn't into me actually competing and training. That's what really was transformative for my career, because I didn't have to worry about what other people were thinking. I didn't have to worry about pretending to be somebody I wasn't. I could just finally be myself, experience true love, experience real happiness, and not have to use energy in other parts of my life that were negatively affecting me and negatively affecting my career. So it's really been absolutely amazing and unbelievably powerful to finally be myself, live unapologetic as possible, and just really be happy. And that's really just what it's really been about. So it's been absolutely amazing. I know my story is not like everybody's. I know I'm pretty fortunate from where I'm at, but to anybody out there that is struggling or needs some advice or just somebody to talk to, please don't hesitate to be reaching out. I'm more than happy to be an ear to listen, and to give as much advice as I can to try to help you through whatever you're going through. On that note, this beautiful shirt that I just decorated, we are going to be doing a little giveaway. So we're going to be putting the how to enter to qualify for this shirt in the description below. You'll be able to see what you have to do to enter. The goal for this is to build our YouTube channel. We want to bring more people in on what we're going to be doing and all the amazing things we're going to be doing here. So we want to get people to see how awesome I really am. That's really what it's about, people. So like I said, if you want to win this gorgeous piece of artwork done by yours truly, see the instructions down below. I'll also post them on Instagram as well, and you'll be able to see how to win this and get it shipped out to you, with a couple of other things that are personalized by me. So as always, make sure you check out my wonderful sponsors, Gymshark, Animal Pack, ESC Sound, Certified Piedmontese, and SBD USA. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the like button for this video below and little bell icon so you don't miss anything when we post again. New videos coming out every Wednesday at noon. And until next time, peace out.